Well, you're all very welcome back to the second episode of the Play Strong Girl podcast. I am your host, Maeve, and I am so happy to introduce my guest for the second episode, the lovely Molly Boyne. For those of you who maybe don't watch Irish rugby, then you might not be familiar with Molly, but she is the Leinster captain, the Wolfhounds captain, has captained Railway, and is tomorrow boarding a flight to Canada to represent Ireland for rugby league. So welcome, Molly.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here.
So you've had like a crazy year, I think, in terms of like rugby, and I'm sure life is there as well.
A bit, yeah.
But what has been like your highlight of like your rugby year, I guess?
Oh, I think there's been a lot this year. Really enjoyed captaining Leinster. It was a new challenge, something that I kind of had to ease myself into and do a lot of self-reflection and self-talk and figure out, you know, what leadership meant to me from that perspective. But I thoroughly enjoyed that this year. It was a challenging campaign, but it was amazing to see 20 new players coming through, getting their caps. I think that's probably a record in any team.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the season, we had to do our cap songs in girl bands because there was too many to do all at the same time. So I think that was a real highlight for me. And then, as you say, you know, I've got a very exciting opportunity coming up playing for Ireland in the World Series. And rugby league has been like a new challenge from this summer. So it's something new to learn, something new to challenge myself with, and I've been really enjoying that as well.
Class. And like you kind of had a little taster, I guess, of the Leinster captaincy like at the tail end of the Interpro series before. Yeah. So how was it kind of having maybe Hannah there for that little point at the end of that series and then coming in and going, oh no, now this is my team now. Like I'm sure, you know, Hannah had many years of like Captain Leinster was incredible, but like you'd come in and put your own stamp on it. Like, how did you feel that went?
Yeah, I think I felt a lot of pressure, particularly for the Interpro final when Hannah wasn't able to play, because she's been such an incredible leader for the team for so many years. And she put her own stamp on it. She's an incredible speaker, an incredible motivator, and, you know, she leads from the front. So I think for that game, I felt a lot of pressure to kind of fill her shoes. And so I think there's a picture at the end of that game when we'd won where I've got tears in my eyes with Aoife Dalton, more so because like that bubble of pressure had burst and, you know, we'd done the job.
Yeah,
you know,
you won. Like, yeah, it was a great day.
Yeah, we'd done her proud, and you know, we'd kind of rounded out the season in the way that she deserved to be sent off. So I think I wanted to do her justice for that year and kind of step up into that role. And then when this season came around, because there was so many fresh faces who'd never been there, never experienced it before, I really felt like it was my opportunity to make it my own a little bit more. So I was less worried about comparisons, and I tried to leave what I thought of myself compared to Hannah as a captain behind, and considered myself going forward and how I could best support the team, particularly the younger girls coming through who hadn't been in that environment before, how they would perceive the team and how they would perceive me, and you know what their experience would be. So I think it was more calm and less pressure for this season, but more time to consider like myself as a leader as opposed to comparing myself to somebody else. So,
and like I know both of us have kind of been there at that earlier stage of rugby and been those girls looking up. Like, what did you take from your time being one of those girls hoping for the best, that you don't make any mistakes, that nothing goes wrong, to now helping them? Like, what traits did you have to take? Like, I know it's so easy to get frustrated maybe whenever systems aren't going well and you're like, we've been over this so many times, but it's just like, well done. Like, how were you able to, you know, get that across, I guess, to those younger players?
Yeah, and I think that's something that I spent a lot of time thinking about, and I spent a lot of time talking to my mom about as well. So she's a leader in the nursing field, and she's done her master's in leadership. So she's a very good font of knowledge for me to kind of bounce things off. And we spoke about, you know, what it meant for me and how to manage those situations where sometimes myself and the more senior players would be getting a little bit frustrated because, you know, we're in a different environment now where people haven't been in this structure before, and they're learning it for the first time, but they're also seeing it from a perspective of the senior players bringing them along too. And so she kind of asked me, like, what kind of captain would Molly, who came into Leinster for the first time, want? Or who picked up a rugby ball for the first time? Like, what kind of captain would she want? And I kind of then sat back in my chair.
Mom.
Yeah, I
Smart
know.
mom.
I sat back in my chair and I was like, okay, so yeah. And that kind of took away that element of, for God's sake, like, why aren't we getting this to be like, okay, like, if this girl was me when I was younger, like, it's going to take another 6 weeks before she cops on to what's going on. And to be fair, like, they got stuck in and they figured it out very quickly. And it's so hard in a new environment under that kind of pressure to, you know, put your best foot forward and not to get overwhelmed and not to get upset when people are getting frustrated. But I just tried to think of it of like, okay, I'm bringing little Molly along with me.
Yeah,
what does she need?
amazing.
And I know there's still times where I'm like, oh, for the love of God, but I try and internalize it and try not to be too short in my instructions. Or if, you know, that's what's needed at the time, I come back to the person and be like, this is what I meant. Sorry if, you know, it came across a bit blunt, but a lot of the time people are so open to feedback that it's, you know, it never sticks around. It's just something that it's a learning moment at the time.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. But like, I find my time that I was captain, even at Cardiff Uni, like, there are some times that I felt a little bit lonely, I guess. And, you know, you have your kind of newer members of the team, then you have your leadership group, and then you're kind of there as captain, and you are the main communication between like coaches and players. Like, did you ever feel like a bit of loneliness, or, you know, even anything else that kind of crept in around that time?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's something that comes with, you know, being the face of a team is kind of the wrong word, but, you know, being the representative where, you know, when things go wrong, people are looking to you, when coaches have questions or selection pieces, or, you know, trying to figure out what's going right and what's going wrong in training, it can feel like a lot of pressure. And I am somebody who maybe doesn't back themselves as much as maybe they should. So I would spend a lot of time overthinking maybe what I was going to say, or I'm also like quite a reflective person. So if, you know, coach would come to me and ask me a question in the moment, you know, I made it very clear early on with Ben. I was like, if you have something serious that you want to discuss, maybe give it to me in advance and I'll come back to you with my answer. Because if you ask me on the spot, you won't get the truest reflection of what I like want to say. And I might be more inclined to side with you rather than give my exact feelings. So in a room of, like, say, a leadership group or something, I like to kind of know in advance what decision we're going to make so that I can take my time to mull over it. So that was kind of a learning piece for me there as well, to be like, it's okay to say that. You don't have to have the answers in the moment. And I would rather what I say to reflect me truly than to just say what feels like people are expecting or wanting at that time. So it's about kind of knowing that about yourself and applying it where you can and not being afraid to do that as well, I think.
Just a quick second to tell you about my online coaching for female athletes of all ages and all stages of their strength and sporting journey. Strength and conditioning is so important for women. Whether you want to get stronger in the gym, faster on the pitch, have some structure and accountability to stay consistent, or want to bridge the gap between early stage rehab and high level performance, I can help you get there. Everything is done through the MTA Performance app. Get your fully personalised programme that fits you, your schedule and your goals. Every exercise has an in-depth video tutorial and voiceover to ensure your technique is perfected. With the MTA Performance app, every workout is logged, and I'll use that data to continue to personalise and progress your plan going forward. And I'll be there to support you with any questions, any queries along the way to ensure your success. So if that's something you're interested in, then click the link below or DM me on Instagram, MaveListon_physio, and book your free call with me to get a plan sorted just for you. Take your sport and career, your gym performance, and your overall health to the next level with the Play Strong Girl system. With me, your coach, Maeve Liston. That's a really good point about knowing yourself first before you can actually lead other people. I think that's really, really important. What would someone everyone who knows you as Molly Boyne, Leinster captain, what is something that they'd maybe be surprised to know about you? I guess you kind of touched on a point, is that you are quite a reflective person and take your time with, as you said, mulling over decisions or calls just to make sure that you get the most authentic give the most authentic answer to the person. But is there anything else that you think would like surprise people maybe, or it's not just like a, oh, well, I didn't know that about Molly?
I think I like to give the perception that I'm like an organized and put together person.
I definitely see that. That's all I see all the time from you running to like training and work. And like, for anyone who doesn't know as well, is Molly runs basically a stroke ward by herself, stroke rehab ward, from like 8 a.m. until 5 p.m, which she shouldn't stay till that late, but sometimes does. But like, her time management is incredible, and I definitely have tried to take something from books. Her little organization book that never like leaves her, something that I remember is that. But maybe are you not? Are you saying that's not true?
I have that book because I like, if I don't make lists of everything, I like, it will not happen. I have the worst memory ever, like to the point that my family call me Dory, because I'd walk into a room and like be doing something and then get distracted by something else and then completely forget what I was doing. I think it's probably like, I think I maybe have some kind of attention deficit issue as well because of the memory piece. But like, if I don't write things down or if I don't put them in a calendar, I will not remember them. And that's why a lot of the time, like, I forget things.
No.
Yeah. So I have my sister to help me, and Kirsty, my girlfriend, helps me a lot as well. Family reminders into the WhatsApp and things. But yeah, and even with WhatsApp messages, like, I'm either going to answer you like right now or I'll see you in 6 months, like, because I'll forget. So it's like, I have you for 10 seconds, and if I reply in that 10 seconds, you're getting an answer. But otherwise, sorry guys, it's like 6 to 10 working weeks.
I can vouch for that as well. But like, going day to day, like your day to day is heavy, in all fairness. Like, you're not kind of dandering through the day. You're dealing with different people, different issues, different, strokes are completely life-changing. And I know the like patients and stuff that you deal with are significant stroke survivors and thrivers, and you're like making their day sometimes by like just your therapy with them and helping them get back together. How, like, you've so many different hats, and that's one reason why I wanted to like think you embody everything that Play Strong Girl is, because of all the different hats you wear. You wear the physio hat, you wear the captain hat, you wear your Molly hat, you wear like your family hat. Like, do you feel like you separate into those differences, or do you feel like, oh, I'm the same like for each situation I'm in?
I think it's a good question. I like to think that I don't change particularly between it, and I'm still cracking jokes and having a bit of fun in work, and then when I leave work, going into training and stuff, trying to bring that as well, then switching into like the serious training mode or going to the gym or whatever, and then when I get home with my family, then I can probably be my most authentic self again. So I suppose it's like different hats for different places, but I think underneath it's all the same. But I suppose the day that you get me on, and the energy levels and how much I've got to give to whatever is presented in front of me kind of is what the variation is, more so than changing who I am, just trying to be the best version of myself, whatever I'm doing. I don't think that happens all the time when you've got a lot to do, but
Yeah, no, you're doing great. And like, there was tougher days definitely throughout the year, and the result of that final game just wasn't what you wanted as a squad at all. Like, on those kind of darker days, like, who do you like turn to for support? Because captains need support too. We forget about that. They need help, they need support.
We do. Probably my family. Yeah, my sister, my mom, my dad, and then I put Kirsty in that bracket as well.
Of course.
Yeah, they're who I turn to when I need to have a bit of support. I might as well ask them, like, what am I going to wear today? Do I look okay? To like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this A, B, and C that's coming up. Like, and I try and call my parents as often as I can. We're on FaceTime whenever I'm like driving home from work and stuff like that. But it's really like my family are the ones that I would turn to first and foremost. They're like my biggest support. We talk about everything underneath the sun, and every chance I get, I go home to Wexford just to kind of go back to that bubble of like safety and comfort, and just to be kind of wrapped up in their love and stuff. So they're really my biggest like behind the scenes crew who keep me going and keep me sane and remind me that like even when I feel like I'm not doing okay, I'm doing okay.
You're definitely doing more than okay. And was there anyone like, so you came from like more of a hockey, did you come from a hockey background? Yeah. And you were like me and didn't start playing rugby till you were later on.
Yeah.
But like throughout growing up then you obviously saw like, well, we didn't get to see as many sports stars, female sports stars on the TV. Who did you like look up to? Or, you know, you said about your mom being like an amazing inspiration, like she's absolute boss lady. But was there like anyone else that you like looked up to whenever you were growing up?
Yeah, I suppose I was a little bit sheltered, I think, from like, you know, I don't know if it was just the time or, you know, the kind of availability of like watching women's sport content.
No,
but
I think
the people that inspired me from a sporting perspective were the ones that I could see from very close when I was growing up. Lisa Jacob was an Irish hockey international from my town, and she used to come back in the summers and do hockey camps. And I was obsessed. Like, she was the coolest person in the world to me. She'd come back, she'd do like drills with us and like share her kit. And like, I did kind of one-on-one sessions with her as well. And like, she was somebody who really, really inspired me and who made me a much better hockey player and teammate, I think. So she was somebody who I could see like right in front of me. So, you know, she inspired me all the way up. And even when I moved from hockey to rugby, like, she's still somebody who I think is amazing. And I'm very grateful for like having her influence in my life. But I don't think beyond, you know, somebody who would come down to coach, I don't think I had anybody that I looked beyond really there. And I think, you know, when I look back at that time in my life, like, she was kind of the standout sports figure for me. Just showing that, like, you know, a girl from Enniscorthy can do pretty darn good, and then she can come back and she can bring up the younger girls behind her and show them how to do it as well. So yeah.
Class. Oh, that's so good. And, you know, with my favorite part of you in the Ninja Pros was every time you came out with your mascots, and I thought that was like the cutest, best thing. And it is for those little girls that we're trying to inspire. And I think it's so sad that still it's 1 in 5 girls quit sport by the time they're leaving secondary school. And is there any like thing that sticks out to you of what you could tell them as any, you know, young girl who's thinking about quitting because, you know, her parents don't think sport's that important, or because they think their studies are just as important? Like, is there anything that sticks out to you, what you could say that could maybe change their mind a little bit, because we want to keep as many girls in a sport as possible?
I don't think there's one particular thing. You know, when you think about it, like, sport and exercise and fitness just play so many different roles in your life, from social connection to strength to protecting your body to helping you when you age. Like, you know, the weights that you do now will help you to get out of your chair when you're 80. I'm telling you that, you know. And I think from so many different perspectives in life, you know, it'll help you to balance the structure of your life a bit more. If you're studying all the time, you're going to be miserable. You won't see your friends. So getting out and getting fresh air in the evening time is so important. It gives you a chance to kind of release the pressure valve of all that's going on in your life. Run around, kick a ball, lift a weight, punch a bag. Like, it just makes a huge difference. And I think you can find your people doing that. Like, for me, it was rugby. I found like my family home from home with rugby. But my mom really started going to the gym when she was in like her late 30s, early 40s. And she now has a gym crew, and she's going on holidays with them next week. Like, they get up at 6 a.m, they do their gym, they have coffee every morning. And my dad's part of it now too. Like, it doesn't matter when you start, but you have to start, or you have to stick with it. So like, you'll find your people, you'll find your love if you just keep going at it. So I'd say don't stop, or start. If you haven't started, start. Just try it, you know. Exactly. There's a huge bravery in continuing on if your friends are stopping, and there's also huge bravery in starting something you've never done before. So just give it a try and see if you can stick with it.
Unreal. Yeah, no, I think we both see the both sides of it, right? Coming from our physio background and seeing the poor women who are fracturing their hips at 80 and struggling to get out of bed and lose like their independence. It's not just like, oh, you've broken a bone. Like, it's everything encompasses that. And then we've got the other side, which is obviously trying to perform for a sport, obviously trying to be like a better player on the pitch. But it's it's allowing girls to see that they cross over, and that it's not just like we're just doing this because of the time that we are in our lives now. It is about we are doing it for life, and that's the one thing that's going to make a huge difference for us.
Yeah.
Like even some girls now that I speak to frequently are maybe like 18, 20, but like have never done any kind of like resistance training at all before. And I still think that's just mad that support or education like isn't there of why it's important. Is there anything that you think that we could maybe do more of to, I guess, bring this more visibility to it and the importance of strength and conditioning in female sport?
I think you're on the right track. Like the content that you're putting out and kind of the perceptions that you're changing in terms of like that strong is powerful, it's protective, it's important for your life is so important. So like the content that we're seeing on Instagram, the stuff that's going out on social media, because I think that's probably the best way to access the youth these days, you know? Like the Alona Mars of the world who are like showing that like strong is beautiful, but it's also like so functional, and you don't have to look a certain way for you to be beautiful or for, you know, society to accept you, because, you know, we need to move past all of that. But I think just it's probably through social media and just giving that education. But I don't know if it's just my Instagram and the like what my feed is doing for me, but like there's so much content about, you know, different ways to do sport, different ways to like to get your strength hits in, stuff like that. And I think just making sure that gets across to everybody is so important, because, you know, running is brilliant and it's great for your cardiovascular fitness, but you know, you got to have the strength in your glutes. You got to have the strength behind you to keep you robust and keep you going. Because if you don't, you're at risk of breaking down. And you know, you got to load those bones to protect them. So,
we go, guys. Yeah,
seriously,
resistance training stops osteoporosis. Well, definitely reduces the chance, and can actually be shown. Muscle is the only like tissue in the body that can get stronger even as we age. Like. So important. Yeah, that's my little rant about resistance training for today. What would teenage Molly think of you now? If you were to like look back at, as you said, like that's who you said before that you were taking along with you to Captain Leinster was little Molly. So like what would little Molly think of like everything that you've achieved so far? Like you're only young tot still.
Oh gosh,
actually I always think I'm like, oh, me and Molly's same age, and then I go, oh no, we're really not.
We are though, of course.
No.
I try and bring myself back down to earth by thinking about this like semi-regularly, because I don't know, when you feel like you're under pressure or overwhelmed, or, you know, you're not doing something right, or you want to put your best foot forward, but you're not really sure how to do it. I think about like 11, 12, 13-year-old Molly and like what she would think of me now. And it is like a very nice feeling to think about that, like, you know, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now, I couldn't have even imagined. Like, I wouldn't have ever thought I'd play rugby. I wouldn't have ever thought that, you know, I would be a captain. I think I've been incredibly lucky because, you know, I'm the kind of person who just goes out and tries to put my best foot forward and lead by example. And I'm just like very grateful that is reflected and that people kind of value that as well. But, you know, even like living in Dublin and all the exciting things that are coming up with Canada and stuff, like it's something that I could never have dreamed of. So I think she would be very impressed, you know, and I think that's a nice thing to consider when, you know, you're feeling under pressure, is that like younger you couldn't have even imagined you'd ever be here. So just roll with it and enjoy it. And imagine in a few years' time, she'll be even more blown away. So just, you know, keep at it and keep making her proud.
Oh. Little Molly. She's done great. She's done so well. And how long are you in Canada for?
8 days.
Wow. Okay. And how many games are you playing?
2. Nigeria first, and then either Fiji or Canada.
Class.
Yeah.
And it was going over to rugby league something that was just like, oh, this, like, you know, it's new. It is a little bit new. Did it give you that feeling of like trying a new sport again? And like I've kind of felt the same. I went back to basketball after not picking up a ball for like 12 years, and it just is like, oh, something new and exciting again. And I think like whenever our life completely revolves around one sport for so long, and it takes up all of our time. It's so nice to get a fresh, even like a fresh perspective of a different aspect of the code. Like it probably was nice and refreshing for you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that was when I was thinking about doing it, one of the girls, Trish, who's down in Railway, she's now playing in Australia. She was like, come down and give it a go. Like, I think you'll really enjoy it. And I think like the skills will transfer a lot. And I went down and it was like, you know, you're learning a new set of rules and like how to play the game, but like the core skills are the same. So it really is quite transferable. But as you say, like it's so nice to kind of like play without pressure, that you don't have to know everything. You've got teammates who can bring you along on the way. And it's like there's always something like new, exciting and challenging about learning a new skill. Like I was tried to learn juggling with Leinster one year, and even just you gave me the juggling balls. Do you remember? I probably still have them actually. But even that was like, I was very much like enamored with that, learning something as silly as that. So like this is a very exciting challenge, and it's also nice to be like somebody who is able to learn again and who doesn't have to be the teacher. So it's nice to be in an environment where my teammates are bringing me along again. And it's kind of like, you know, starting rugby again. It's like joining like Railway again, where, you know, you've got the more senior players who are bringing you along. It's nice to feel that again and to be challenged in that different way. Again, it feels like I'm a novice again, and I'm teenage Molly again, starting all over again. So.
Oh, that's great. And, you know, this is called the Play Strong Girl podcast. So one question that I think I'll probably end up asking most of my guests is, what does being like a strong girl mean to you?
I think it could probably have loads of different meanings. I think strength for me, I think something that comes to mind is resilience. We talk about this place in Railway called the Pit. And it's like this learning zone where the more you seem to learn, the more questions you have. And it's your teammates who bring you in and out of the pit, this learning zone. And there's always like a sense of frustration in there where, you know, when you're learning, you're always going to be frustrated because, you know, you're in the pursuit of knowledge, you're gaining more skills, but you're never perfect. So you're always, you know, in search of better. And I think there's a huge resilience that comes in that piece as well, because being resilient doesn't feel resilient. It feels pretty crappy. But then you realize maybe when you come out the other side that you've gained this new strength and ability to overcome obstacles and to kind of push yourself further than you thought. And I think that strength kind of comes from within. So be it the resilience to like start a new sport, go down to a club, go back to basketball, start rugby league. My sister loves musicals, and she joined the Musical Society at home a couple of years ago, and now she's really involved in that. And then she went and joined a new musical society. There's resilience in that. So, you know, and there's huge strength in that. So it's kind of like a bravery piece to go after what you want, and the strength to stick with it, be it sport, be it education, be it to leave the country and go traveling, whatever you do, finding that resilience in yourself to do it and to go after, I think is real strength.
Amazing. And you're doing that too. You're going off and you're going traveling. Yeah. How does it feel to not be heading into, I'm not going to go say the exact same year because it's no year is the same, but to take a complete U-turn to what you're like club rugby season, and then it's into the Wolfhounds, and then like rest of club season, and then it's into pros. How does it feel to go, oh, I have no idea what this next few months is going to be like? Yeah,
chuck the structure that keeps me alive and keeps my whatever attention deficit brain okay. Yeah, just throw it out the window. It's totally fine. It's exciting. Yeah. I don't know what the next year is going to bring, but there's something beautiful in that too, you know. I think if we don't go for it now, I probably never will, because there's a huge sense of comfort in knowing what the year looks like and playing year in, year out with my friends and Railway and all the fun and, you know, difficult times that comes with that. But it's really exciting and something that I'm looking forward to. And I think it'll kind of change how life looks, and hopefully I'll be more tanned.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've always looked at people who've headed over, and, you know, they always say the grass is greener on the other side, but sometimes you have to go and check. So
exactly. That's such a good way to put it. Yeah, Australia was nice for the few few weeks I was there. You're heading up the East Coast, is it?
Brisbane is the plan. Yeah,
Nice.
we're kind of in the planning stages. Probably would be better if it was more further along in the planning stages, but
don't need that.
Yeah, it's kind of once Canada is over,
Yes,
we'll
I
start
think that's
getting stuck in. The new passport will be applied for once I get back, and then transferring over the degree and stuff like that, and seeing how we can do that. And I'm not too pushed on getting a permanent physio role over there. I just want to see kind of what life will bring. I don't mind if I'm working on the side of the road, as long as get to enjoy life and go for swims and just be. And Kirsty will be there as well, so it'll be great.
You were saying about renewing or doing your physio abroad, maybe whenever you're out in Australia. But one thing that like sticks out to me was my time whenever I worked with Molly for over a year and a half, and poor Molly just always seems to be on the receiving end of a bruise of some description, significant facial bruising, sometimes from black eyes and like grab marks in your arm. I think it like comes with the territory of playing Seven, obviously. Like it's you're getting stuck in role. But we had one physio who worked with us who was absolutely distraught anytime you walked in with any black eye, and just every single time all I'd hear was and I was just like, oh, she saw her black eye again. And like it's just a part and parcel of it. Have you had any of the like patients like say, like obviously lovely young girl walking in with a black eye to her job, probably some questions and stares? Has there been any of the bar our physio who was very intrigued, any of the patients or the nurses that were had any funny questions for you?
I think when I started working first, there was a lot of concern. I think that the first one I had was stitches with a black eye, and so then stereo strips on my face as well. And I'm not sure if that was the same time that you had broken your nose from that weekend as well. So the two of us came in, and the physio department were like, for the love of God, what is wrong with these women? But yeah, there was a lot of like understandably concerned staff. I'd be walking through the corridor and they'd be like, okay. And I very quickly had to tell them that it was rugby and kind of spread that message throughout the hospital. So then everybody would be like, oh, you're the rugby girl. And I'd be like, yes, my face. Yeah. But obviously they were concerned. So they were like, yeah, you're okay. And I'm like, yeah, all good. Rugby. Perfect.
Promise.
But yeah, you'd be surprised actually the amount of patients who just didn't notice at all. And you'd come in every day and you'd be like, my whole face is black and blue. And they'd be like, hello. And then there'd be other people who'd be like entirely concerned. And every day I'd come in, they'd be like looking at the progress and seeing the colour spread and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it was a kind of probably half and half of people who were concerned with people who didn't notice. But there's one of the porters in work who calls me Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas, because every time I'd come in with a black eye, he'd be like, oh, again. And he's always looking me down, up and down after the weekend. He's like, anything new on the face today? I'm like, most of the time, no. There's been two pretty good ones, but he sings Black Eyed Peas to me every time I go down the corridor. So, I mean, it's pretty good content from him, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, gosh. I saw how amazing you were with all your stroke patients. Like, you really go above and beyond for them all, and I think it's this, like, you take that diligence like into your everyday, to be honest. Like, with how you're a high performing athlete, you are like incredible physio. Like, where does that like deep performance, I guess, come into it? Like, is that something that you've all like been so diligent since you were young, or is that something that you've like started to either put pressure on yourself to be that amazing, or is where does it come from?
I think I've probably had an element of it all the way up. Like, I was always quite like diligent in terms of studying in school. Never the most productive or efficient, because my sister and I did my leaving cert when she did her junior cert, and she would start promptly at 9. She'd have her breaks throughout the day. She'd finish at 5, and that'd be her done. She'd get everything she wanted to do. And I'd be starting at 7 a.m., pulling my hair out until 11 o'clock at night. And I'd get probably half what she got done, but I still was there trying very hard. But I think I have always probably been a stubborn person, and, been not necessarily hard on myself, but, you know, expected a lot from myself. I'm not sure, like my parents have always been like hugely supportive, and, you know, whatever I wanted to do, they would support me in any way, but never put any pressure on me. So I think it came from my expectations of myself. But I am a Taurus born in the year of the ox. So stubbornness, I think, comes with it comes with the territory. And yeah, I think there's probably been, like, in terms of like performance and stuff, there's probably been people who, like, I've seen working really, really hard, and they kind of inspire me to keep going. Like, from people on my team to some of the players I would have seen when I was working with Leinster, like seeing the places that they could bring themselves in terms of like their training and their learning and their video reviews. Like, there's no reason why I can't push myself that hard. And maybe it's a comparison thing where I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it, you know. And I just like try to apply that in my life. I'm probably best at it in terms of like a sporting perspective, and kind of like working on strengthening and fitness and stuff like that. But I think it's probably come throughout my life as well.
It can be a double-edged sword in a way that it's like, yeah, I have really high standards and expectations of myself, but then it's like trying to find that little voice in your head that's like, no, you're doing like really good, sweetie. Like, it's trying to find that balance. I think is really important. And I think with all the pressure on like young girls now with social media, and, you know, the points for everything seem like ridiculous. Like, is there any advice that you'd give for, like, you are very distinguished academically as well. Like, you graduated from Trinity in physio, and you've also got your master's in like sports medicine. Is that right?
No, in just research, but research in Trinity.
Still fab.
In physio. So,
still fab. Yeah. You know, so is there any piece of advice for those young girls who are trying to balance their sport and their like academics now? Anything that tips you give them?
I think, you know, sticking with sport will help with the academics is probably the first one, because if you spend all your time studying without giving yourself a break, you're probably going to burn out from that perspective. It's kind of the same, like change is as good as a rest. So when you're getting out in the evening and you're doing a bit of sport, you're blowing off that steam, it gives you the opportunity, like mentally and physically, to then go again the next day. So just finding that balance between the two. I know it can be so hard when you're, especially, you know, if we're talking about like girls coming into Leaving Cert or in college where they're struggling to manage both, and you think of like Emer Curry out there, like studying, working, playing at a very high level. How she manages it, I will never know, but it's where you can find the balance to do it, and also taking time for yourself as well, and knowing like enough when enough is enough, and you've worked as much as you can, and then accepting where you land. And like, I'm saying that coming from someone who is still learning, probably could be better about it as well. But, you know, just being kind to yourself, and again, thinking like the little voice of little Molly being like, it's okay, you're doing okay, you know, and what you're doing is enough. You don't need to keep pushing any more than you are. Just, you know, keep going and keep doing what you're doing. But it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I think we're all the same. It's like our outlets for us both are like sport, but is there anything else that maybe people wouldn't expect that you enjoy doing and spending your time doing, like away whenever you're not rugby Molly, whenever you're not physio Molly, like whenever you're just able to just be?
It's probably being at home with my family, and I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. Like, when I can get a break from a rugby weekend, it's straight down to Wexford, and like, I love being at home at this time of year. We've got 4 dogs and 2 cats who are like, oh my God, the loves of my life, and my sister sends regular updates of them. But just spending time with them, like, we kind of would light the fire every day at this time of year, so it's always so cozy. You know, we live on a hill with loads of forests around, and there's like a mountain biking track there as well. So like the hills and the walks are amazing. So like, just getting out there, getting some fresh air, and spending time with, you know, with my people is really what I love to do. I'm unfortunately not very interesting beyond the rugby. Like, I don't have any like nice other skills like knitting or crocheting.
You haven't picked any of that up yet? It seems real fashionable to have picked knitting or crochet up these days.
I don't know. My sister does all of those nice things, like painting by numbers, and she creates all these deadly things, like, and she crochets as well. And she has made so many nice things. She crocheted me an otter for my birthday last year, and it was fabulous. But I'm unfortunately not skilled in that way.
You might take up surfing.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I tried it before. I don't think I was particularly good. I did used to swim when I was younger, but I don't know. It'll be a practice piece.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Who knows?
I could be a Supergirl. Maybe I have the Supergirl hair
Yeah,
now.
you do. You could do it all. Like with your family support, like that means the world. Was there any point that you just really had to leave everything and go down to your family and get that support? Like, was there any time, like through even playing or anything that you needed?
I think there's been lots of times, and I think my mom can probably always tell. It'll come. It was the same when I was like growing up, or when I was doing my Leaving Cert or whatever. I would start laughing and then laugh hysterically until I cried, and then I'd cry for like 10 or 15 minutes, right? So that was probably the time when my mom was like, okay, we're approaching like the end of the candle wick that's been burnt from both ends, like we're getting into the middle of it, so we need to just like reset. And I think I'm probably better at recognizing that more in myself before it gets to that point. But there have been many times where I'm like, it could be, I can only get home for like 12 hours, but I'll still just go just to get that bit of change, because I my whole life is based in Dublin now at the moment, and it all feels like team and sport and work is all centered where I am now. So then when I go home to Wexford, it's like this bubble of life outside of life where like I don't even need to have my phone, because it like I don't need to be contactable by anybody. I'm just in a separate place. So the ability to reset there is amazing, which then gives me like the energy to go back and like live the rest of my life,
Yeah.
So just having that touching point and the ability to like just go like an hour and a half down the road and like fill up on life energy and recharge my soul and stuff is very, very handy to have.
Oh.
It'll be a bit further away from me now, so I'll have to figure out what the story with that is.
I know we need to stop talking about it now. You're probably like, I don't want to go with that. So you are. Like, we're probably coming to the end of the podcast now. I have a couple of like quick fire questions.
Okay.
Don't know how good or bad these are going to be.
I'll try and get my reflective brain into gear now.
Yeah. Let me see. Where did I save it? Okay, I think I'll have 10. Okay, scrum or line out?
Scrum.
Jackal turnover in your 22 or score try?
Jackal turnover.
Yeah. I knew. Of course, you're a back row. What's your girl dinner?
Oh.
Because I think this is hilarious for people who've got like a 20-minute turnaround.
Oh, I'm big on the cottage cheese at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Cottage cheese, peanut butter, sourdough, toast, and some honey on top. That's my kind of snack after work every day at the moment. Don't look at me like that. No. How am I supposed to get huge without the cottage cheese? I mean,
I've
seriously.
seen so many like people doing recipes about that. It's just something I haven't gone down that hole yet. But you recommend?
Yeah, I would. See, the problem is Kirsty's the chef in our house, so if she's not there, I'm kind of like, I don't care enough. So it's either scrambled eggs on toast or like cottage cheese.
Oh.
So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Hidden talent.
I can move my ears.
Oh, can you?
If you can see.
It's deadly. Perfect. Coffee order.
Flat white.
Yeah. Leinster Railway.
Splenda in it. Oh. I'm gonna say railway.
Pineapple on pizza.
Wouldn't be my first order, but I wouldn't be against it.
What would be your mastermind topic of choice? Sorry. Quick fire. I always ask people this question.
That's a really hard one.
What do you think you could focus on to learn about for a solid point of time? We'll come back to it. What's your spirit animal?
Otter.
Oh. What trait are you most proud of in yourself?
My hard work.
Nice. And if you could swap lives with anyone for a day, who would it be?
Ooh. I would have previously said Taylor Swift, but I don't think Taylor Swift at the moment. These are not very quick fire.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. Your favourite player from the Women's Rugby World Cup this year?
Ooh. Brittany Hogan.
Class. There we have it. Right, thank you so much, Molly, for joining us on the Play Strong Girl podcast. It has been amazing, and I think there's so much there that so many young girls and female athletes can take from that, about your resilience, about your strength, about your diligence, and about your hard work. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on the Play Strong Girl podcast.